better way. But the Bible warns us that in the last days, 2 Timothy, the Bible says, for men shall be lovers of themselves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedience to parents, unthankful, unholy. All of this derives around pride, being humble. So we have to constantly know that this spirit is in the land. And the closer we get to the return of Christ, this spirit is going to be prevalent. So what it tells us, we have to constantly see the state that we're in. We have to constantly recognize that the enemy is somewhere trying to make us think we're greater than what we really are. You have to remain humble. I'm reminded of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was one of the world leaders in Daniel's time. He was one that would allow the different people to serve their different gods. He believed that he could have more cooperation out of them like that. He was known to try even to worship different gods. When he conquered Judah, he met the God of gods. He met the King of kings. And the true and the living God. He wanted nothing less than exclusive worship. Once you come into contact and know who the real God is. See, there's some people in the world, they really don't know who the true and the living God is. But Jesus said, for I am the way, I am the truth. He said, I am the life. If any man enter in by me, he must be saved. He must be humble. He must be meek. He must be lowly. He must be teachable. And this is what happened with Nebuchadnezzar. He came in contact with the people of God. See, it was God that gave Nebuchadnezzar all that he had and made him what he was. God allowed him many victories, even when he was accomplishing the purpose of God. Sometimes God will use men to accomplish his purpose, even sometimes if it means getting his people in order. But God warned him of the dangers of his pride. And because, see, the Bible let us know that warning will come before destruction. Many times God will send you signal. God will give you sign. You need to do better in this area. You need to do better in this area. Many times God will minister to you. God will deal with you. God will have conversation with you. See, because sometimes there's things down the line that God really want to use you to do. God may want to use you in a great way. But yet if you don't remain humble, if you don't come to that state of humility, many times you'll get beside yourself. And this is what happened with Nebuchadnezzar. God had blessed him, did many great and mighty works from his hand. But yet he began to get prideful. And one day he came out and he began to boast in himself. He began to boast in who he thought he was. And because of that, God's hand was removed up off of it. And many of us know the story. He began to go out into the fields. He began to go out and he became insane. Why? Because he didn't no longer acknowledge or glorify the God of the universe. He began to go forth and he began to eat grass. See, it's one thing about it. When God begins to deal with you, when God begins to try to show you a better way, and you just refuse to do it God's way, what you do, you begin to consider yourself to be greater than God. You begin to consider yourself, you become as a little God. That's why you know that people, when they die, when they commit suicide, they no longer trust in God. But what happens is they exalt themselves above God. My life is too tough, so I'm going to take my life. And a person that commits suicide cannot go to heaven. He put himself in God's stead. And Nebuchadnezzar, he began to roam. He grew claws like an eagle, eating grass because of his pride, became insane. And he did this for some time. And finally, he came to himself. God allowed him a season. See, when you don't do it God's way, you can expect trials. You wonder why you can't get above, why things won't work in your favor many times. It's because you hadn't submitted to God. You got to remain humble. See, it's one thing to be humble. I've seen time after time ministers come forth. They begin to let God use them. In my day, I've seen it. I had friends that I've seen God use, and then God began to elevate them, and all of a sudden, they know more than the pastor. All of a sudden, you can't talk to them on the level in which you talk to them. What's wrong? You got to remain humble as a child of God. As the people of God, we have to remain humble. For the Bible says, for promotion coming neither from the east nor from the west, but from the Lord. Not from the south, but from the Lord. See, we have to understand, God loves us. He wants to teach us his way. He wants to show us his way. But many times, when we get in the wrong spirit, many times we'll start to falter. Many times we'll start to go another direction. And if God placed you in a ministry, it's God that wants you to go according to the ministry. But now we're living in a day and time where you say, I don't see it like that. But God didn't ask you why you see it. God deals with the head. And it's up to us to follow. God is not going to lead us astray. But see, many times we get beside ourselves. But we have to remain humble. But many times you can see it. You can see when a person get into the wrong spirit. They have a false humility. Their conversation, they may talk good with their mouth, but it don't match their character. Many times their attitude don't match their character. I mean outwardly what they're doing. Even sometimes their tears don't even match their character. Sometimes people crying is still in the wrong spirit. I want to let you know, people of God, God see you just as you are. And God knows you just as you are. So it's up to us to humble ourselves. When we humble, we won't give the pastor problems. It's understandable that sometimes you don't see it the way they see it, but it's up to you to submit. It's up to you to come humble. It's up to you to just say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to work with you. And many times God will show you down the line, this is why I had you doing this, or this is why. It'll prove itself. The Bible says wisdom is justified of her children. The Bible says he that ministered, let him wait on his ministry. Many times people get saved and they're ready to minister, they're ready to preach, but many times you're not ready to preach. You're not ready to teach, you're not ready to do the work of God. Many times God have to teach you and train you. But because you're saved and you're sanctified and you know it, and many times we all go through that, man. You get saved the first time and you excited about it. You go telling people if you don't get saved, you're going to go to hell. You better hurry up. Jesus is soon to come, and it's true. But yet there's a way in which we do it. There's a spirit in which we do it. We have to remain humble as the people of God. Naaman, as I close, Naaman did great works. God used him. But he had leprosy.